Welcome to Sugary as Fuck. My name's Alexis, and I teach lazy people how to make impressive desserts.
This recipe does take a little longer to accomplish than most of the ones you'll see me make. You know, bring it out for a special occasion, a birthday, you met a bunch of people, you really want them to like you, it's a third date, you're trying to seal the deal, I don't know, whatever. This is still just a doctored cake mix though, so pull out a chocolate cake mix. This one happens to be very expired, but it doesn't seem to matter. Put in a quarter teaspoon of cayenne, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and I'm just doing a couple of things to try to make the cake mix a little bit more moist. I've replaced the water called for in the recipe with whole milk, and I'm adding half a cup of 2% Greek yogurt. I always break my eggs into a separate container before adding them to the cake mix because I'm sloppy as shit, and I will get eggshells in there if I don't do this. I add vanilla just because it makes everything taste better, and this is the oil called for in the recipe. Alright, it's time to let the machine do the work for you. You let it go for about 30 seconds and then scrape down the sides of the bowl and let it beat again for a couple of minutes. It's the cayenne and the cinnamon that make this Mexican chocolate, so you really want to taste the batter and make sure the spices are coming through loud and clear. Yes, it does say right on the box, do not eat raw cake batter because of eating the raw eggs. But you know what? The risk of getting salmonella is so freaking tiny that unless you're an infant or a super frail elderly person, just buck up and eat the fucking cake batter. You owe it to your loved ones to make sure this cake batter totally rocks. So now we're going to prepare our cupcake liners. I feel like I can actually hear my fellow lazy people going, why the fuck don't you just put this in a 9x13 pan and then throw the icing on top when you're done? It'll still taste the same and everybody will still love you for making the dessert. And you can totally do that. I won't judge you. Nobody's got time for this, but you know what? It looks so pretty when you do it this way, and you don't have to have plates and napkins and shit. You can just hand people a cupcake and walk away. It's perfect. Also, you get a higher frosting to cake ratio with a cupcake, and as we all know, frosting is why we eat these things in the first place. So let's make frosting. Pretty much every frosting that is worth your time to make involves cream cheese in some form or another. So you put a block of cream cheese in there and a little bit of vanilla, and you stir it up until it's nice and smooth. And then you're going to add this gorgeous Trader Joe's Dulce de Leche. Don't be shy. Put the whole jar in there, except for whatever you need to lick out of there to make yourself happy. If I make this frosting again, I think I'll probably also add maybe a quarter of a teaspoon of salt, but I didn't, and we sprinkled some salt on top, so it all turned out fine in the end. I'm adding some powdered sugar to make the consistency a little more stiff. This is about a cup of powdered sugar. I don't want to add too much to this because I just put an entire jar of dulce de leche in there. I mean, let's be honest, I don't want my head to explode, but this isn't firm enough yet, so gonna add another cup here, and it's the lumpy Trader Joe's powdered sugar. Whatever, even if you don't feel like sifting this, you're gonna beat the snot out of this frosting. Any lumps that you've got in there will probably be obliterated long before you're done. Alright, that seems like it's probably gonna be thick enough to hold its shape, but still be kind of soft and gooey like dulce de leche is. I'm gonna throw this in a piping bag and stick it in the refrigerator while we wait for the cupcakes to finish cooling off. We're not even going to use a tip with this piping bag, so this is really a case where you just use a Ziploc bag and cut a corner off and you'll be totally fine. I'm using a cup to hold this bag upright while I fill it. You can do the same thing with your Ziploc bag. You put the bag inside the cup and fold the lip of the bag over. Dump your frosting inside, twist the top of it, and you can even use a twist tie to keep this closed while it's in the fridge. When you're ready to frost, you just cut the end of the bag off and you're left with a big hole at the bottom. You're going to pipe it onto your cupcake. And then I'm sprinkling on some cinnamon sprinkles and some milk chocolate crispy pearls. And then we're going to finish it off with a little touch of fleur de sel sea salt. And now you're going to do that 23 more times. The best way to do this is assembly line style. I generally do the first few cupcakes all the way through, icing and all of the decorations, just to make sure I like the way they look. But then the rest of them, do the icing first, then go back and do your first set of sprinkles, and come back and do your second set of sprinkles. And oh my god, this takes forever. I'm bored even watching this. Okay, finally the salt. Boom. Fortunately, the thank yous are generally worth it.
Here we have our Mexican chocolate cupcake. It has a little bit of cayenne pepper for heat and a whole bunch of cinnamon. I can't wait to see how the heat level is for the cayenne pepper. I only used 1/4 teaspoon for the whole recipe, so I hope it came through. I will definitely be making dulce de leche frosting again. The cinnamon comes through really well, and there's just a tiny bit of heat. You could maybe push it up to 1/2 teaspoon, but I think I like it this way. Turned out good.